Hi there. Welcome to another live online broadcast of Pateo Television, brought to you via CCN Conscious Consumer Network.tv. My name is Johan Oldenkamp and I'm the host of this television talk show. But today it is not a talk show because it will be again a presentation show, as I do not have a guest today. And it has everything to do with the subject of this broadcast. And I will bring my screen now over so that I can share the subject, because the subject is the Bowie Code. And it has everything to do with Mr. David Bowie and what happened in the beginning of this year on January 10. And it's also the 10th video interview. Yeah, technically it is not really an interview, but it's in the series of the video interviews of Pateo Television. And the date of today is January the 11th, 2000. Sorry, it has to be, of course, February. I made a mistake here. February 11, 2016. Yeah, Pateo Television is live broadcast by CCN. As I said in the beginning, the URL you find here. If you watch this on YouTube, then check out this website, because there's much more interesting video presentations going on. And the show of Pateo TV is always every Thursday from 8 p.m. until 10 p.m. Central European Time. And if you want to contact me, this is my email address. And yeah, the show, as you can see here, the show lasts 2 hours. And if you think that 2 hours is too long for you, if you want to find the truth, but you cannot invest 2 hours of your time in finding it, then yeah, I can be really clear about that. Then you are simply not worthy of discovering the truth. And if you feel offended by this, then let it be. Then you can better stop watching, because if you, again, are not able to spend 2 hours on watching this video or this live broadcast, then you are not worthy of finding the truth. What I'm going to present in this episode is building on my previous presentations, and if you've not watched them, then I strongly suggest that you do that first. If you watch this now live, then of course it's a little bit late, but if you watch this on YouTube, then please stop this video of this current episode and go to this website, holyscience.org, and there you see on the right hand side links to all the previous episodes, the first 13 presentation episodes, and I suggest you watch them in chronological order. Yeah, those are all episodes of Pateo TV, all from 2015 of last year. And I think it's important that you get it, because otherwise you might not get everything I'm explaining in this broadcast. And I also advise you to go to another article on that website, and that's titled The Essence of Holy Awakening, because there you find a video recording of a presentation, online presentation that I gave called Holy Awakening. And if you cannot find it on holyscience.org, which is a little bit remarkable, because you can just simply type in here Holy Awakening, or even Awakening only is also enough. Click on the hourglass and then you'll see it immediately. But still, if you can't find it, you can also go directly to YouTube and type in this code, and then you get the video as well. And yeah, again, if you watch this on YouTube, I strongly advise you to watch this video first before I explain a lot of basic stuff there. And it's very essential that you get that first before you get the explanation of the Bowie Code in this episode. So, after having said all that, then it's time to start with explaining the Bowie Code, because I think that this code is really, really remarkable. And yeah, you see the announcement poster that I made, and also reference to my all English website, holyscience.org, but also I also have a multilingual website, 10 languages there, including French, Spanish, German, Italian, and so on. Dutch, of course. Before I delve into it, I want to stress out this, because it's very important to see into which category you belong. Are you a believer or are you a researcher? Because if you are a believer, then this video is not for you. This broadcast is not for you. And especially, I'm talking about believers in coincidence. I'm going to present very, very remarkable facts in this episode. And if you think that all those remarkable facts are just coincidences, then you can better stop watching. Yeah? Because there is definitely something going on. And you can call it a conspiracy or a cooperation or any other word you like to name it. But that's definitely the case. And I'm going to prove that for once and for all, especially in relation to this case. So it's the big difference between having an open mind and having a limited mind. You do need to have an open mind in order to find the truth. Otherwise, you will not find it, because this world is full of trickery and illusion and lies and so on. And only if you have an open mind, you can break free from all of that. So it's up to you. If you are a believer in coincidences and you have a limited mind, then I strongly advise you to stop watching. But if you are a researcher with an open mind and you also not afraid to uncover conspiracies, then please continue watching. One of those researchers with an open mind is Mr. Christopher C. Lord. You see his name here at the bottom, and his YouTube channel is called Truth Theory 3. And on January the 23rd of this year, he announced that he will do a David Bowie documentary, 2016. And that's now 19 days ago, but I've still not seen anything from him. I've seen many videos on his channel, and I think it's a really pity that he does not understand holy science yet, because if he would be a much more remarkable researcher than he is already. He's by no doubt an above average researcher, but he would be a really excellent researcher if he would understand holy science, because there are still many errors in his videos. But nevertheless, there are also very interesting true aspects. So, but I think he can improve really, really a lot by studying holy science. So if you watch this, Christopher, please contact me and I will help you, assist you. So, what do we know about Mr. David Bowie? Well, we know that his career started when he was only 17 years old. And he was dominating the musical industry, or you can better say that he was a trend-setting songwriter and musician, a singer, for half a century, for 5 decades. And that's very, very remarkable. No one has ever achieved this kind of influence on music. So he's truly a legend, and he's truly a king of popular music, we can say, or maybe rock music or any genre. But he is by far the most trend-setting singer-songwriter ever, as far as history is at this moment. I start by explaining the movie that he appeared in as a main character, and that's the movie, the feature film named Labyrinth. And of course, Labyrinth is also what we are in. If you want to find the truth in this reality, then you are in the labyrinth, because there are so many dead ends and there's so much disinformation going on. So it's truly a labyrinth. And the directors, the people involved, are certainly not the least. Yeah, you can see George Lucas. It was after the first 3 episodes of Star Wars. Major success. The same guy was involved in this, and also Jim Henson from the Muppets. Two geniuses in relation to creating movies or illusions, you can say. So, and of course, he was also a big star. So that's really remarkable. If you want to learn more about, especially Star Wars and the hidden messages there, then watch Pateo Television episode 4. I explain a lot of that there. In the beginning of the film Labyrinth, we see a clear reference to the Wizard of Oz. And about halfway the film, a little bit over half, at 1 hour and 13 minutes, we see another clear reference to this book. So this book is shown twice in the film. So that's a hint. That's a clear hint. And let us see what that film is all about, The Wizard of Oz. It was created, that means the novel was written by Mr. L. Frank Baum. And most people think it's just an innocent fairy tale, but it's not. It's actually a warning. It's a major warning for the influence of the financial industry, and especially the way money is created in our reality. It's not a fairy tale. It's just a fairy tale is a kind of comparison to our current situation, but it's very real, very important to understand that. The scarecrow is a reference to the agricultural sector. That's really because it's related to farming, so that's not too difficult to understand. This means all the farmers, so to say. The tin man, is industrial sector. So the industry is represented by the tin man. Dorothy is a representation of the consumers, the complete consumer sector, all people who buy goods. And then the cowardly lion is, of course, the government. The government is able to do, or should be able to do something about this, but is not doing anything at all, because they are listening to the financial sector, and especially the creators of money. And those creators of money, they are, in this story, the Wizard of Oz. That's the banking sector. And of course, Oz is a very clear and simple reference to ounce. So it's a reference to ounce, 1 ounce of gold. And Dorothy is strongly advised to stay on the yellow brick road, means that we, society, should stick to the gold standard. And by leaving the gold standard, which happened, we became in big trouble. That's what happened, and that's why we have the financial crisis. We should not have left the gold standard. But of course, the wizards, the money creators, wanted to get rid of that gold standard because it's much more easy for them to create more money, because now they create money out of thin air, and that's much more profitable for them than having it backed by gold. So it's all about this. It's a very simple structure. It's about the financial system that completely ruined our current society. And the solution is really clear, because at the end of the story, the Dorothy discovers, the consumer discovers, that the solution has been right under her feet all along, because the solution is silver. If we combine silver and gold, so we create a golden and silver standard, then we still have something that is backing up our currency and is preventing the bankers to create money out of thin air. So the silver shoes of Dorothy are essential. But what do we see in the movie? We see that the silver shoes have gone and they were changed into red shoes. Because the people who are, of course, behind Hollywood are the same people who have a major influence on the banking sector, probably are the same, the powers that should not be. So they don't want us to know too much about the silver shoes. Clear and simple. And then we saw the musical, The Wiz. Did you know that Michael Jackson was the #2 to be the main singer and actor in Labyrinth? I'm really happy that David Bowie got the role, because I really like the movie. I've seen it, and it's a marvelous movie, but I don't think it would be the same with Michael. Though Michael was also a very talented singer-songwriter, no doubt about that. And of course, Michael did not die a natural death. That's what I explained in Pateo Television episode number 5. So if you want to see that explanation, go there. And of course, we see Diana Ross as Dorothy. And that came out in 1978. And then later, in 1986, we saw the movie Labyrinth. And here you see the labyrinth. And we need to go through the labyrinth in order to get to the core, to the essence. This is the castle where Dorothy is heading in the film. And as I said, the labyrinth is a metaphor for finding the truth. It's very tough to find the truth, but it is possible. I found the truth, so you can find it too. We have breadcrumbs everywhere. We just need to look at it, because the powers that should not be are obliged to tell us the truth, but they do it in a very clever way. Here you see Mr. Bowie. His character's name is Jared the Goblin King. And it's all about Sarah, played by Jennifer Connelly, because Sarah represents the pure human being, the human being that has not yet sold his soul to the devil. She is still pure. But what happened, because because of her own doing in the film, she allowed the goblins to take her baby brother. And she had 13 hours to find her baby brother again, otherwise it will be lost forever. And the baby brother is, of course, a reference to the soul. So you can say the goblin king, or Jareth, or you can also say the devil. The devil took her soul, and she has 13 hours to get it back, and otherwise her soul will be lost forever. That's the story in essence. And we see a clear reference to 13. 13 is the favorite number of the powers that should not be. Here we see Jareth, the goblin king, and here we see the baby brother. His name is Toby. And here we see all the goblins. What are goblins? Yeah, goblins are creatures of the earth, but they represent people who have sold their soul to the devil. So all soulless, actually these are all the souls that are sold to the devil. And that means that Toby is the soul of Sarah. Yeah, in the film, of course, she is her stepbrother, but in the metaphor trying to explain us, this is actually the soul of the woman Sarah. And Toby, yeah, you don't have to be really clever to see this. Toby, of course, means to be. To be. If you are, then you are connected to your soul. Then you did not sell it to the devil. To be or not to be. That's why they chose this name. And it starts with this song. You remind me of the babe. What babe? Babe with the power. What power? Power of voodoo. Who do? You do. Do what? Remind me of the babe. And then Bowie starts to sing. I saw my baby. Well, I cannot sing as good as he did. Anyway. Yeah, and in between, he says, quiet. A goblin babe. Well, it means he wants the soul. He wants the soul. And what does the soul need? That's why I explained in the video, Holy Awakening. The soul requires love. And without love, the soul will disappear, so to say. So we need a kind of magic or trick to fool people. Yeah, voodoo is magic, it's black magic. And there are a lot of options here. The first option is slime and snails. That means actually to butter up somebody, to see if you can reach your goal by buttering up. If that doesn't work, well, the second option is, or a puppy dog tail of a puppy dog. That means to soften up somebody, hoping that they will fall for the trick. And if that doesn't work, then the third one is thunder and lightning, meaning to scare up somebody. But all these three options were not chosen. Actually, the real one was because then the baby said, and the baby said nothing. Yeah, it was completely incomprehensible. So the baby did not protest, did not say stop or no, don't do this. So then the baby was put under a spell by a magic dance. Yeah, baby spell, magic jump. That's all happened. And then we see slap that baby. Well, if you slap somebody, then he becomes awake. But the baby is not awake. The baby is under a spell, under a kind of magic. But if we are able to slap ourselves, then we can make ourselves free. That's what it says here. It's all out in the open, but most people don't think of the meaning. They just think it's just a silly song. No, it's not a silly song. It is very meaningful. Here we see Jareth with Toby, to be. And he says in that song, in 9 hours and 23 minutes, you'll be mine. And some researchers say, oh, that must be 9 must be September and 23. So the September 23, something will happen. And they thought it was the year 2015, which is completely crazy. That's not a reference. You should think a little bit deeper than just that. It's only one step deeper than you think. So what does it mean, 9 hours and 23 minutes? Look at the clock. What does it mean if there are 9 hours and 23 minutes left? And do you see the clock, by the way? 13 at the top, no 12. So it's another clear reference to the 13, the number 13, as there are many references in the one USA dollar bill to 13. I explained it all in a previous episode about hidden symbolism. But if the clock is like this, what time is it then? Yeah, simple deduction. 3 hours and 37 minutes. This means 33. And the 7. These are all important numbers. This is a reference to 33 and to 7. I will come back to this. That's the meaning. It's a hidden meaning. So don't worry about 9 and 23. No, deduct that from 1300 hours. And then you come to this. Very simple. This is what he says, the Goblin King. I have reordered time. I have turned the world upside down. Indeed, that's what the powers that should not be have done. They have truly turned this world upside down. They changed everything. Healthcare is actually sickness creation and so on. I will not go into all those details. And the time, they want to control time too. They want to be associated with the time creator or Kronos. I'll come back to that later on. Another song in this movie. Again, a reference to love. No love injection. So if you don't get your love, then you go to the underground. The underground is for the people who have sold their soul to the devil. And it has a relation with the moon. Underground. Yeah, he wants us to go to the underground. He wants us to sell our soul. Daddy, daddy, get me out of here. That's what we would shout if we would see where we are if we have sold our soul. Please, daddy, get us out of here. But it's too late. Yeah, then he laughs. Ha ha, I'm underground. Daddy cannot help you anymore. It's too late. You already sold your soul. Want to live underground. That's what the dark people, the dark powers want. They want to live underground. They want us to live there too. But that's not what we really want. At least not what I want. And this is the song, As the World Falls Down. I'll place the moon within your heart. Your heart is related to your soul. But instead of your soul, because your soul has been sold to the devil, now the moon is placed there. I'll come back to this. It's another clear reference to the moon and the game they're playing. But the story ends happily because at the end, Sarah realizes, you have no power over me. She can cut free from the illusion because it's just an illusion. And that's what everybody can realize. We can break free from this illusion, but we do have to stand up. We have to say stop, no. We have to say no. We have to say, you have no power over me. Unless and when we not do that, then we'll stick in the illusion, in the matrix, or whatever you like to call it, in the Maya world. So it's all about sorcery. It's about sorcery. And actually this world was meant to become a sorcerer, but the sorcery school has been hijacked. Now the black magicians are playing a game upon us, and they don't allow us actually, or they don't at least encourage us, that we are becoming wizards ourselves, that we learn magic too. But that's the essence of holy science, to become a sorcerer, to become a wizard, to become a magician, and to learn white magic, and to counter black magic. That's the whole purpose of holy science. And if you're interested in that, then please contact me. And that's also the meaning of a Harry Potter film, and I can give other films as well, or the dark side of the force and the white side of the force. It's all about this. This is the main theme. Which team are you on? And if you're not aware of this game, then you most certainly are serving the black team. The dark magic, the black magic, the voodoo. In order to become a magician or a sorcerer, you need to build your house on rock. It has nothing to do with believing. It has everything to do with knowing and understanding. It means build your understanding on rock hard foundation. That is what holy science does. That's what Holy science enables us to do, to build our understanding on rock-hard foundation. So, now it's time for more interesting things, because I will give a lot of explanation on the Bowie Code. To start with, Bowie was not his real last name, it was just his artist name, because he was actually named David Robert Jones, and he was born in 1947 on January 8. And he died just 2 days after his birthday. That's remarkable, and let us look at that date. 2016, if we apply numerology, we add the 2 plus the 0 plus the 1 and the 6, and we get a 9. And January is of course the first month, so that's a 1. And 10, 1 plus 0, is also a 1. Whoa, 911. That's the hidden meaning of this date. What do we know about 911? Well, we know that something happened in the year 2001 on that date, September 11. And September 11, 911, is 9 plus 1 plus 1 is 11. And New York was also the 11th state to ratify the USA Constitution. And the name New York City has 11 letters. If you think this is all coincidence, then I think you should have stopped a little bit earlier, because this is not for people who believe in coincidence. This is for people who are doing research, and these are just facts. Let's continue. The so-called Statue of Liberty. It's actually representing the very opposite of liberty, but I will not go into that. Just look at the facts. What's the height of this statue? From foot to the top of the head. It's 111 feet and 1 inch. 1111. That's remarkable. And how much inches are that? Well, there's 1,333 inches. 1,333. 1333. Or 1333. Very meaningful numbers. 33 again and 13 again. And when we look at the base of that statue, we see an 11-pointed star. Here you see image from above. Here another one. You can count them. 11. Another clear reference to 11. And when we look at the head of this statue, we see 7 rays. So number 7 and 11. And September is the 7th month. Actually, Septem is the Latin word for 7, because it was originally the 7th month. So it's 7/11. 7/11. Does that ring a bell? And now we go to Washington, D.C. This artificial, not ancient but modern obelisk has the height of exactly 111 times 5 feet, or 111 times 60 inches. Because we all know, of course, that 1 feet is 12 inches. But it's remarkable, because it's a double reference to 111, 111. And they, the powers that want to be, they want to be the number 1. So that's why they're fond of the number 1. And this is a triple 1. So they want to express that they were completely going for the number 1 in our reality. Washington, D.C. Let's apply Pythagorean numerology. That means the A is 1, the B is 2, and so on. The I is 9, and then we continue with 1 again. So the J is 1, and so on. The R is 9, and then the S is 1 again until the Z, which is 8. And if we put those numbers where the letters are, then we get these numbers. And if we add them up, then we get 56. And when we add up the 5 and the 6, we get again 11. Coincidence? I don't think so. Let us look at this. We can also write this differently, namely as 666 times 10 inches. So it's also a reference to 666, the number of the beast, as we see in the book of Revelation in the Bible, last book of the Bible. Remarkable. Now we go back to New York City, to Manhattan, and there we find the charging bull, a very colossal statue. That sculpture was placed in the year 1989. Numerological value of that date, of that year, is a 9. And it was done on December 21. December is 12, 21 is 21 of course, but 1 plus 2 is 3, and 2 plus 1 is of course also 3. So this is a hidden reference to 33. The height of this sculpture is 11 feet. Is this a coincidence? I don't think so. And the weight of this sculpture is 322 times 10,000 gram. 322, 322. That's also a remarkable number, because the Georgia Guidestones were erected, the central cluster was erected on March 22 in 1980. March 22. March 22 is 322. That's the same number. And of course, Skull and Bones has that same number in their logo, 322. There's much more to say about this, but I will not go into that because I want to stick to the main story. But this all has meaning. There's no such thing as chance or coincidence. It all has meaning. And when we add up these numbers, so we don't do 1980, but we do 80, as it was done in the previous century, we forget about the 19 and we just say 80. That's why we have the 80s and the 60s and the 70s and so on. When we add this up, we get 33 again. Are you getting a little bit fascinated by the David Bowie Code? I hope so. Yeah, as I said, there's much more to tell about all these numbers. I will not go into all of that, especially not the 322, because that's will not be possible in 2 hours. If you want to know more about all this, the Skull and Bones and all the trickery they try on us, then read this book. It's no longer available as a printed book, as a hard copy, but it's still available as an ebook for 30 euros. If you want to buy this book, contact me. Go back to the Twin Towers. They were the preparation of the building, the groundbreaking was in the year 1966, which was a Shemitah year. The opening was also in a Shemitah year. Shemitah is a Hebrew, Jewish year. Every 7th year is a Shemitah year. And that's an important year, but I'm not going to explain that here either, just mentioning it. So the opening was also in a Shemitah year, and of course the controlled demolition of those 2 towers was also in a Shemitah year. But now what I want to point out here is the time between the start of the construction. That was the first one was the North Tower. The start of that construction was in the year 1968 in August. And there are exactly 33 years in between the start of the construction and the demolition, controlled demolition. That is not a coincidence. And if we look at the dates 9/11, September 11, then after this date until the end of the year, there are exactly 111 days later after that. So isn't that remarkable? This is a very important date. It has a lot of meaning, but this is extra, 111, another reference to 111. And if we count which day it is in the year, it was the 254th day of the year 2001. And if we add up these 3 ciphers, 2, 5, and 4, then of course we get 11. This was the last photo shoot of Mr. David Bowie. The very last, and it was taken on 2015, December 7. And he allegedly died on January the 10th of 2016. How many days are there in between? Probably you can guess it by now. 33 intermediate days. Coincidence? I don't think so. 33 is of course a clear reference to the 33rd degree Mason. And one of them was Aleister Crowley. And Mr. Bowie was a huge fan of Crowley. That's why he released the song Quicksand in 1971, in which he sings, "I'm closer to the golden dawn, immersed in Crowley's uniform of imagery." That's true. We are in a world of imagery. And the 33 degree people, they are fully aware of it, meaning they are creating it. They are responsible for the illusionary world we are all tricked in. And they, of course, have sold their soul to the devil, but they are tricking us to do the very same. That is the game they're playing. They are working for the devil, so to say. And Crowley was a clear devil worshipper. We make no secret about it. Everybody can check this. That's why he used these symbols. I will come back to this. Yeah, the pentagram. Most people see this as a clear reference to Satan. And he died in the year 1947, which is the same year in which Bowie, or Mr. Jones, was born. So that's remarkable. They share the same year, but for the one is the birth year and for the other is the year of death. There is a rumor going on that Crowley might be actually the father of David Bowie, which is of course possible, but I don't think that's very likely. Because if we look at who his parents were, I think this story is true. So I think that his mother, who was named Peggy Burns, I don't think she was impregnated by Crowley. I don't think that's likely, but I cannot prove it didn't happen. So I don't know for sure, but to me, that's a little bit far-fetched. I think this is a true ancestry of David Jones or David Bowie. And here we see Aleister Crowley. This is Aleister Crowley, and here too. And this is David Bowie. So he liked to dress up exactly like his master or his teacher, because he was into all this. Of course, he read all the books of Crowley and he studied everything. He knew. Bowie knew. And that's why he was able to create all those lyrics, because they are very meaningful. They are meant to trick us to sell our soul to the devil. And he helped a lot. And that's why he was promoted so much. And that's why he was able to create a new trend every time over and over again. He had a full support. He was backed by the powers that should not be. Actually, he was their front man, so to say. Yes, do you see the reference? It's all a reference to ancient Egypt, but that's where the cult started. Actually started in ancient Sumer, the Saturn worshipping cult, and I will come back to this. That's why they are fond of all this ancient Egypt dressing and so on. Here we see something that Crowley made. Here you see his name, Aleister Crowley, OTO. I'll come back to that. Do what thou wilt. That's remarkable. That's not really in line with what the Bible tells us. Yeah? Not my will, but thou will. But this is another thou. Yeah, I don't have time to explain all the words here and all the symbols, but if you read my book, then it will become a lot very clear. Yeah, why this is 7, why there is 666 here, why there is telema, means will in Greek, and so on. Very meaningful. I can talk maybe for an hour about all this, but I think it will be boring for most people, so I will continue. OTO at the top means Ordo Templi Orientis, or the order of the temple of the East. And that's what he was into that order. Brethren of the ancient and accepted Scottish rite. It's all related. And he was a sovereign grand commander. That's why he was allowed to wear all this. And there you see, of course, another 33. That's the 33 degree. So they make really clear at which level they are. And the highest level, the honorary level, that level is, there we find the people who are truly the architects of our illusionary world. And he was a very important one of them. Then this sign, you see here and here, left and right, there and there you see this name Baphomet, and Baphomet is the name of this kind of goat man, but it's both man and female, because it has female breast and a male penis, and it's a strange head, of course, and of course the symbols of the hands. I will come back to that later. This has everything to do with the 33rd degree, because it's the Baphomet cross. That's how it's named. Yeah, so here you see the name Baphomet, and this symbol is also a reference to Baphomet. And here you see a depiction of Baphomet. And yeah, this symbol is known as the sigil of Baphomet. And the letters around it are Hebrew letters, and they are actually pronounced as Leviathan. And I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly, probably not, but it's actually a primordial sea serpent. And we find references in the Bible. In Job and in Psalms, we find clear reference to this sea serpent, this hideous dragon-like creature under the waters. And it's, of course, a reference to the devil. There's no doubt about it. And that's why it's pointed downwards, down to the underworld. And the Rosicrucians are involved in this as well. Actually, the Golden Dawn is a reference to the Rosicrucians. And the Rosicrucians, that's actually a little bit strange translation of Rose Crucis. And this is the cross, and this is the rose in front of the cross and rose. That's what it means. It should be better in English, the rose crosses, or the crosses, the rose and crosses, or whatever, something like that. But it's a clear reference to a cross and the rose. And they put around it INRI, which is an abbreviation of Jesus Nazarenus Rex Iuderum. But if you seen my previous episodes, then you know that the whole idea of an historical Jesus is a complete myth. And the town of Nazareth was not there at that time. It came much, much later. So the story, the literal interpretation or the historic interpretation of the four Gospels doesn't make any sense at all. It's something else, and that I explained in another episode. And here you see also a reference to Hermetic, Hermes Trismegistus. In my books, I explain everything about this man, or this guidance, so to say. And what about this, the cover of this album? It was done after Paul McCartney was replaced by a stand-in. This is not the original Paul McCartney, this is the new one. And I'm not going to explain that here. But the name Peppers is a clear reference to the original, to the stand-in guy. But what I want to point out here is what we see here, one of the heads at the background. Well, let me enlarge it because it's Aleister Crowley. So the Beatles are also worshipping Aleister Crowley. And actually all of them do, because they're all working for the same group, the powers that should not be, the satanic cult. And there was something remarkable, because in the same month that David Bowie allegedly died, we also were informed about the death of Alan Rickman. He died allegedly 4 days later. I think that he truly died. I'm not sure about Mr. Bowie, but I'll come back to that. But probably Alan Rickman really died. And he was most famous, I think, for his role in Harry Potter as Professor Snape, Severus Snape. And what is remarkable, both men died at the age of 69. And 69, that's also a reference to cancer, because the symbol for cancer, what you see here, is actually a 6 and a 9. And it is said that Bowie died of cancer. So, yeah, that's remarkable. And here we see him as Ziggy Stardust. And as I explained before in Holy Awakening, Stardust is also actually an indirect reference to the moon. Very remarkable. Saturn is actually represented by the cipher 6. Yeah, I will explain that later on, but if you look at the relation between Saturn and 6, there are many references. There's a six-sided shape at the top. Saturn is also the 6th day of the week, because actually Saturday is Saturn Day. The N somehow got lost. So that's a 6. And Holy Science explains that the moon is actually 9. And also if you look up Kabbalah, then you see that the place of the moon, Luna, in the Kabbalah is at number 9, Sephiroth number 9. So Luna is 9 and Saturn is 6. 6, 9. 6, 9. The same symbol here. Coincidence? No way. Here we see Baphomet holding 3 fingers up and 3 fingers down. What does it mean? 3 up, like this, 3 up and 3 down. Well, 3 up means a triangle. Triangle up. This is a triangle up. And this is a triangle down. The flag of Israel is a clear reference to Saturn because this is a symbol for Saturn. That's why it's Israel, leading to El, because El is the ancient name for Saturn. Here we see Bowie holding up 5 with his left hand, 5, and his right hand. You see that his thumb is somehow not visible or hidden. So we cannot count the thumb, but we can count the 4 fingers. And 5 plus 4 is 9. So he's making this gesture to refer to Saturn, to the moon, Luna. Well, this is a reference to Saturn. Yeah, that's why it is Saturn. This was immediately brought in the news, and this is very meaningful. Dies aged 69 after 18-month battle with cancer. Nobody knew that he had cancer, and I've seen people who had, for instance, chemo radiation treatments and chemical treatments. They don't have a hairdo like this anymore. So if he was undergoing a cure like that, a so-called cure, because it's actually a death technique. But anyway, this was also late 2015. So his hair, there was nothing wrong with it, so it didn't drop. So he was not treated that way at all. And I don't believe any word of the whole cancer story because it's a hidden story. Here we see cancer, and on top of that we see 69. And as I said before, the zodiac sign of Cancer is represented by this symbol. Yeah, 69. And it's also the home of the moon. So it's also an indirect reference to the moon, number 9. And that's why we see 18 months, because 1 and 8 is 9. So this is a reference to the moon, and this is a reference to the sign of Cancer, or to 69. It's all in plain sight. You just need eyes to see, and then it becomes clear. The new moon is also known as the black star, because this is of course a very bright white star, and the other end of the cycle we find the black star. So the black star is a reference to the new moon phase. And that was also the name of his last album. He made 25 studio albums, 25. It's a 7. It's a meaningful number. And it was released on his 69th birthday, exactly on his 69th birthday. And there's a song in which he is playing Lazarus. We all know this from the story, the man that stood up from the dead. And here he is blindfolded, so he cannot see. But at a certain moment in that video clip, he can see again. And he does stand up from the dead. Did he not really die? Did he give us a clue that he was just going off the world stage, that his time was up, and that it was now time for him to retire? But then, of course, in the underworld, hidden. It's a question I don't know for sure. I cannot answer that question with certainty. But to me, it's more than likely. Because the whole story is so fishy that it cannot be a death. Or it could have been a sacrifice, but not a natural death or a death by a disease or whatever. Let us look at this. And if you're not blown away by now, then this will certainly blow you away. There are many truthers out there. Many are doing research, but I think even the most advanced researchers will never ever be able to discover this on their own. I'm not proud of myself. I'm just showing that holy science helps us to find the truth. Without holy science, I could not have discovered this Bowie Code. But thanks to holy science, I could. And let me show you the power of the holy science. And never underestimate the power of holy science. Because you have to count, you have to add numbers. Numbers is an essential part of holy science, numerology. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So far, nothing is really shocking. But now, what we now need to do is to add these numbers up. And that's the trick. And most people will never ever come up with this trick, because then you'll find the truth. And adding these 5 numbers up, you get 15. So the black star represents the number 15. And that also makes sense because it has 5 points, and it's also unity. So it's a 1 and a 5 at the same time. It's 15. Now let us look at the symbols under it, because there are 6 symbols under it. And 6 is a reference to Saturn. So this is a very simple clue, but the more advanced clue will come now. Because this is a part of the pentagram, a part. And which numbers are included here? Well, the top number, of course, the number 1. And if you look good, then you see that the number 3 is also there. So this one represents the 1 and the 3. This one represents all 5. This one represents the 2, the 5, and the 4. See, the 2, the 5, and the 4. And this one, the 5, the 2, and the 3. 2, 5, and 3. That's this symbol. This symbol is the 4, the 3, and the 1. And then finally, we have this symbol. This means 3 points. 3, 2, 1. What do we know? Well, let's add them up. That's what we get here. This is 1 and 3, adding up 4, and so on. These are all the totals. And now we add up all these totals together with the original star. You get all these numbers. And when you add them up, you will get, can you already guess? No? What about this? 69. If you fell from your chair and you're lying on the floor, then I'll give you some time to go back to your chair and sit up straight again, or maybe to close your mouth. Isn't this remarkable? This is what holy science does. This is the power of holy science. The cover of this album is a reference to 69, but very cleverly done, very hidden, so to say. And let us look at the text. What is he saying here? He gave all his money away, something that is really valuable, and so on. Just read at this lyrics. He wants to be free, a blue bird. He wants to fly away. And I think that's what he did. I think he did flew away. That's why he was singing this song. Ain't that just like me? Yes, like you. I think it's like you. So good for you. What is remarkable about the dates that he died? Well, here you see January 10 of 2016. And that's a new moon. That's a black star. He died on a black star, on a new moon. Coincidence? Well, if you still think this is a coincidence and you're still watching this video, then I'm not sure what you're doing. Yeah, you better do something else, because this is clearly no coincidence. Here you see Mr. Bowie with his son, Duncan Jones. And he was the director of a movie, a feature film, titled Moon, released on 2009, January 23. And the year 2009 is, of course, an 11. And this is 1, 2, 3. Is this a coincidence? No, I don't think it's a coincidence. Was he also into this? I think he was also into this. And maybe he still is, or probably he still is. So another reference to the moon via his son. And maybe look at his t-shirt. Yeah, also meaningful. And what about this black star here, the pentagram? 5. Is it a coincidence that he wears this t-shirt with a black star on his chest? No, of course it's that no coincidence. Then we look at Diana. Diana was the name of the Roman moon goddess. Yeah, we're still talking about the moon. I named the moon Luna, but in ancient Roman times she was named Diana. And we also know a woman named Diana who died also on a new moon, on a black star. And when we compare those two dates, then we see that actually her death, and I don't think this was a real death either, I think it was also a staged escape to the underworld, that was 227 moon cycles earlier. And 227 is also very meaningful. Because if you divide 22 by 7, you get about pi. It's a close approximation of pi. That's a reference to an important number. And this is also a prime number, and it's the 49th prime. And 4 plus 9 is 13. All coincidences? No. And what most people don't know, this woman named Diana, or Lady Diana, she was not really the daughter of John Spencer, because her mother had a love affair with Jimmy Goldsmith. So she was actually the love baby of Jimmy Goldsmith, a very powerful Zionist billionaire. And you only have to look at the resemblance between the face of Diana and Zach Goldsmith. Yeah, they look like twins. Their resemblance is so crystal clear that it's beyond any proof that he is the natural father of Diana. And this Goldsmith family is very powerful. We all know that. And they became even more powerful when both sons of Jimmy married to a daughter of the Rothschilds clan. Here you see two Rothschild women. So I will not go into the Rothschild family here because I don't have time for that either. But it's all about the same Zionist power group. They want to rule the world. And actually they are doing that. They're doing that for a long time already. It started with the Bank of England when the Rothschild took that over, and then of course the Federal Reserve System, then they took over the USA, and so on and so on and so on. And now the Rothschilds own almost all countries via the central banks. And they are fighting with the countries which they have not conquered yet. They want to rule the world, conquer all countries, conquer all humanity. That's their goal. And they've written that down. It's out in the open. They tell us in every way they can, but somehow it's very hard for people to get this. So this means that William and also his younger brother Henry, they are the grandsons of Jimmy Goldsmith. They belong to the same empire. Remarkable or not? I think it is remarkable. Yeah, and I predict that this child will never be put on the throne in the UK. I think it will straight go to William, because he's also playing a major role in their game. So her name is Diana, which is the name of the Roman moon goddess, and she also died on a new moon. Cannot be a coincidence. And this is what was created after that in Paris, close to where she was so-called killed in a car accident. When we look at this symbol, it's called the Liberty Flame, but it has nothing to do with liberty, neither has the Statue of Liberty to do anything with liberty. And it's on the Pont d'Alma in Paris, France. Yeah, it's called Flamme de la Liberté. And if you look at it from the top, yeah, maybe it's not clear, so I put a star on it, but it's a 5-pointed star. It's a pentagram. It's a symbol for the black star. Remarkable? I think it's remarkable. Yeah, if you look here from the side, you can already see it a little bit. But from the top, it's clear. There is a black star. So Diana is connected to the black star too. Yeah, in the background you see the Tour d'Eiffel, the Eiffel Tower. And allegedly she died in the car accident or the car accident caused her death, and the car allegedly hit the 13th pillar, another reference to 13. And look at this pillar. It's not that bad damaged for a very heavy and well-protected car. So I don't think the story is true. This is very fishy. Yeah, allegedly the driver was drunk and he caused this, but I think it is all staged, and she got an exit to the underworld. Yeah, it happened here in the tunnel of the Lalma. And there is more, because yeah, if I find 3 examples, then you cannot say it is coincidence anymore. I do hope you're not saying that anymore at all, but still, if you still do that, Selene is the Greek moon goddess. And what happened to a woman who had that name, or nearly precisely the name, Selena Quintanilla, she was murdered at a new moon phase night at the age of 23. And this is also meaningful to the powers that should not be, because to them it's 2 divided by 3, meaning 0.66666. That's why they love this number too. Yeah, because March 31 of the year 1995, you can see it here clearly, 1995, March 31 is a new moon day, new moon night. So this was clearly also a new moon sacrifice. Yeah, I think she was really sacrificed, and I don't think Diana and Bowie really died, but I think she really died. She was sacrificed, and the others got a way out, but on the same day. Same moon phase day. So it's about this, the relation between Luna and Saturn, and they are connected. Now, I've explained that also in a previous episode of Pateo TV. There's a clear relation between those two, between the 6 and the 9. What was really remarkable is that there is an episode of Simpsons in which he is also impersonated. Yeah, Alan Rickman as Professor Snape, Severus Snape. And this is, of course, David Bowie later on in an episode of Simpsons. So the Simpsons are telling us things. And those cartoons, they are not meaningless. They are very meaningful. There's all kinds of hidden meanings in there. And it's for them much more easy to put them in a cartoon than to hire actors and do it good, because yeah, something can go wrong. But in a cartoon, nothing can go wrong. And you can put it exactly as you want it. And that's why it's broadcast so much, all these completely ridiculous cartoons. But there is a hidden meaning in it. Simpsons already did it. It's also the name of an episode. But the Simpsons show things before they happen. Yeah, there's meaning. There's hidden meaning. And there is a clear hidden meaning in this episode. It's episode number 11 of season 27. Do you see that 27 is 2 plus 7 is 9? So this is 9/11. And the title is Teenage Mutant Milk Caused Hurdles. Milk. I'll come back to milk because that's important here. And it was aired on the very same day as Bowie allegedly died. That is no coincidence at all, of course, because the name of Bowie is in that very episode. This is what the principal says. The principal talks to Bart Simpson and he says, "Oh, I know a lot more than that. She's never seen an episode of Friends." And then Bart says, "Not even the one with," and then he doesn't even have time to continue because the principal immediately says, "No, not one." And then later come back to Bowie. But let's look at Friends first. Because actually there are 3 episodes of Friends in which Bowie is mentioned. Yeah, here one of the actors is singing "Ground Control to Major Tom" and so on. That's a clear reference to a song by David Bowie, Major Tom. And what do we see here? We see the 6 main actors of this. Actually, I've never seen an episode of Friends myself. I don't like these kind of silly sitcoms or whatever you like to call them at all. But I do like to analyze hidden meaning and look at the males. 1, 2, 3. If you connect their heads, you get a triangle pointed up. Look at the females in white, because the males are dressed in black, the females in white. 1, 2, 3, triangle pointed down. Coincidence? No, of course not. Triangle pointed up, triangle pointed down. This is a clear reference to Saturn. Saturn. And that's why I think Friends also has 6 letters. Am I correct here? No, sorry, it's 7. Excuse me. Major Tom. Major Tom. Sorry, I was trying to add something, but I shouldn't do that. This is what he sang in Space Oddity, and it was released in the year 69. And what is 69? Well, we saw it before, 6 and a 9. Saturn and the moon, Luna. Major Tom. It's a little bit silly story, but yeah, somehow the song was catchy. So let us continue here. The principal says, no, not one, so not even the one with. She has the woman he was with has never seen any episode of Friends, and especially not those ones with. Yeah, there's not actually one. There are 3, but yeah, not one of the 3 she has seen. And then he continues, and she has a cat with different color eyes. His name is Bowie. And the bot says, no! Clear reference to Bowie. Well, to be more correct, he didn't have, or doesn't have, because I think he's still alive, different color eyes. He actually has one pupil, which is much larger than the other. This one is much larger than the other. And that's why the color looks different. This is called anisocoria. And there is something with eyes, of course, because here you see a patch on his right eye. And when we look at the text of Zechariah 11, verse 17, then to the worthless shepherd. The worthless shepherd, you can see that because his right eye is blind. And this right eye is a reference to your left hemisphere. And your left hemisphere is your analytical hemisphere, your left brain. And you need that. If your left brain is not really working at the moment, I don't think you will understand anything of this video, because it's all left brain work. That's why it's blocked here. Yeah, do not analyze, do not think for yourself. Just go with the crowd, be a sheeple. That's what it says here. And that's how you recognize the worthless shepherds, because they're sheeple. Sheeple, yeah, his right eye and also his arm. So what is Major Tom? Yeah, here we see you see the cover of the album in which he sings about Major Tom. Yeah, Space Oddity is the album, or the single actually, the song, sorry. And in Ashes to Ashes, which was released in August 8th of 80, meaning 888, that cannot be a coincidence either. No, I'm not going to explain that one now. But in that song, Ashes to Ashes, which is also meaningful, if you look at the video of Holy Awakening, then he says, we know Major Tom is a junkie. And what does that mean? That means Major Tom can never get enough. Major Tom is, we can say, a soul junkie. He needs more and more souls. And my mama said, there's another quote of that lyric, my mama said, to get things done, you better not mess with Major Tom. So if you want to get things done on this planet, you should work along with the powers that should not be, because Major Tom is a clear reference to the powers that should not be. And if you want to get things done, you should not mess with them. Well, I fully disagree. Well, let me put it differently. Play your own game. Don't try to fight them, because that is a really tough fight. But make sure that you're not under their spell, under their magic, under their voodoo. But if you want to be a successful singer-songwriter, like Bowie, then you should not mess with them. Because if you mess with them, then you die. I think at the end, Michael Jackson was trying to mess with them, and we all know what happened. I don't think Bowie messed with them. I don't think he was sacrificed. But it's possible, because he did leave a lot of clues behind. And that's what I'm showing here. And what I also like to say, Space Oddity and Space Odyssey, there is a lot of reference here too, to the movie, which was of course later on, but it's the same theme. So there is something odd in space, and it's about an odyssey. That's what Stanley Kubrick was warning us about. Yeah, and this was released just a little bit before this. So maybe Bowie knew what Stanley Kubrick was trying to tell us, or that Kubrick was involved or something. To me, this is a reference to Space Odyssey, and there is a kind of oddity, and the oddity is, of course, the staged moon landings. So maybe Bowie was somehow trying to say, people wake up, you're completely fooled by what NASA tried to show you, or what NASA showed you, but what tried to tell you. I'll come back to Kubrick later on. So let us look at the numerological value of Major Tom, according to the Pythagorean numerology. Here you see the letters. These are the values of each of those letters. Everybody can just calculate this. But if you add them up, hope you are sitting steady in your chair, then you get this, 33. By choosing the name Major Tom, Bowie told us it is the 33 club that is ruling this world. Major Tom are the 30-degree Masons. And all the other organizations they created, they are at the top of the pyramid. They are trying to rule over this planet. It's the 33 club. 33, a 3 up and a 3 down. This is also 33. 33 is a reference to Saturn. They are the Saturn worshippers. 3 up, 3 down, seal of so-called Solomon, or some say the David star. But it has everything to do with Saturn. This is the Zionist Saturn worshipping club that wants to rule the world. And it becomes even more remarkable because if we look at the name Simpson and we do the very same trick, yeah, the numerological value, according to the Pythagorean system, get these numbers, these ciphers, and then we get again 33. Coincidence? Oh, wait. 33 store. Yeah. See the Simpsons again. 33 store. Look at the bars in front of it. We are in the 33 store. We are in the world ruled by the 33 club. They are at the top. Their name is at the top. And we are at the bottom. And we are in a prison reality. 33 wants to rule. And how do they rule? This is their adagium. Ordo ab chao. Order out of chaos. They are creating mayhem, chaos, anything. False flag attacks, so-called murders, anything. Yeah, the people who have to run because there's war in their country, and then they come to other countries where they are described as criminals or dangerous, and they want to create chaos in Europe at this moment by attacking Syria. It's very, very obvious what they want. They want to create chaos in any way or the other, because then they can bring their solution to the table. And their solution is a totalitarian regime. They want to rule with power, with force. That's their dream. That's their goal. That's their vision. And that's why they have all kinds of groups honoring Satan, honoring Saturn. That's why we see the number 33 again. The symbolism, yeah, is speaking for itself. God and my right. That's what we see here at the bottom. God and my right. They think they have the right to rule over this reality because they have warned us. They have told us that they were going to do it. And if we are not saying no, if we are mumbling something but don't say anything clear, then they can proceed. Then we give consent to what they're doing. That's what we do when we watch all the films, all the feature films. Like, for instance, Labyrinth. If we still, after Labyrinth, continue with what we are doing, and that's what everybody has been doing, then we said, okay, continue with that plan. Take our souls. Steal our baby brother. Because we are not getting it back. We don't go into the labyrinth and we are not finding it out. We have something more important to do. We have to watch a sports game, or we have to go to our job, or we have to make sure that we pay the mortgage. We have all kinds of reasons not to go into the labyrinth. Well, I don't have any of those reasons. I had those reasons, but I gave them all up. I quit it. I quitted my job. I quitted everything. And from that day on, I started to investigate the labyrinth. I don't want these people to rule our reality. I don't want chaos. I want harmony. I want to live in harmony with nature, according to God's plan. That is what I want. And I don't want to be any part of their devilish, demonic plan and order out of chaos approach to actually make us all slaves of Satan in order to fulfill their agenda, to sell our souls to the devil. I don't want to sell my soul to the devil, and I'm not doing it. They write this, ordo ab cao, and then their so-called rights. They don't have that right, of course. Yeah, they have the right. Actually, they do have the right to do this, because it's a free world project we're in. A free will project. So anything is possible here. But we can also stop it. We can also say, you don't have any power over me. But most people do not do that. They are willingly paying taxes. And they continue honoring authority, fake authority. That's what they continue doing. And actually, they think you are a criminal if you do not respect that self-invented authority. That's what the brainwashed people think. Well, I have news for you. You are completely brainwashed. There is no right to do this. All legal systems are unlawful. And if you want to learn more about that, watch episode 7 of Pateo Television. They write this word around it. Sapientia, meaning wisdom. Well, it's not wisdom what they're doing. It's the very opposite of wisdom. They trick us. They pull the world upside down. It's the very opposite of wisdom. It's evil. It's evil with capital E-V-I-L. That's what they do. It has nothing to do with wisdom. Here you see another 3 fingers ahead, so it's a reference to 3. Let us look at the full dialogue here. The full dialogue. It's about a woman, because the teacher had an affair with her, and he called Simpson to come to him, and he says, "I called you here to gloat." Yeah, he caught him gloating at them. And then Bart says, "Yeah, I know about you and Barrera, the woman." And then he asked, "You know about me and Carol?" That's her first name. And then he says, "You know her name," meaning her first name. "Oh, first and middle, I know more." The people who want to control this, well, of course they know more. And then he says her favorite salad bar item is little shredded cheese. Why would he bring up cheese here? What's it with cheese? Everybody likes that. That's what Bart replies. "Oh, I know a lot more than that." Yeah, of course they do know a lot more than that. She's never seen an episode and so on. That's what we said. And then at the end, he says, "Face it, Simpson, you can't compete with me." That's what they are bluffing. They are bluffing. They bluff that they know everything and that we cannot compete with them. Well, I have news for you. I dare to compete with you, and I think I will beat you because I know more. I know more than you do, thanks to holy science. So bring it on. What is it with cheese? Well, look at the work of this researcher. Mr. T. Colin Campbell, university professor, or actually he's retired now. But he says, and his research showed that clearly, that eating cheese is the #1 cause of cancer when it is food related. And he says it's very remarkable that no one who studies medicine at the university knows anything or hardly anything about food and the relation between diet and illnesses or problems. And he says almost all illnesses or sickness or whatever you like to refer to them, almost all are related to food. And that's why he has now the website nutritionstudies.org, because we should study food much better. And it's completely ridiculous that the house doctor knows nothing about it. Actually, they're all drug dealers. They know only things about drugs and how to prescribe drugs and how to get money out of that, because you get big bonuses for prescribing drugs. They are the main criminals of this society, because they are selling drugs to people who could become better if there was a real cure advised to them instead of drugs and so on. So they, in my opinion, are criminals, real criminals. And it's not, of course, coincidence that there is no information at all to students of medicines about nutrition, because that is not the agenda of the pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry has only one agenda, and that is to make more money. And they do that by not informing you about real cures, about real treatments, but they only give you fake drug-based treatments that are suppressing symptoms. So it seems that they are doing something good, while in fact the core of the problem is still there. If you want to know more about this, study the work of this man. I think he's a really brave man that he's standing up. And it's science-based. Everything they try to sell us with drugs is nonsense. All the so-called articles and research is done by the pharmaceutical industry themselves. They sponsor that research, or they do it themselves. It's also happening. So how can you allow somebody who's selling drugs also to test if it's scientifically working? That's completely ridiculous. So you should not trust any drug dealer anymore. If you have a problem, go to internet and search the truth. But I strongly advise you to investigate first about your diet. What he says, Mr. Campbell, is he says that if you eat whole food, so food in the way nature has prepared it, plant-based, so no animal food at all, and you eat it whole, so not extracts or something, and then you get about 80% carbohydrates, 10% proteins, and about 10% fat. That is exactly what you need. No added fat, and especially no refined carbohydrates, and certainly not from factories or whatever. No artificial sugars or anything like that. If you want to learn more about this, I have to continue. You can find this video on YouTube. Here you find the code. This was a lecture he gave in 2013, November 9, which to me is, of course, also because November 9 in Europe we say 9 November, which is 9/11. Kind of remarkable, but maybe he knows the game too. Yeah, it was a lecture he gave for TEDx in Cortland. Actually, it was the first time in Cortland that they did a TEDx presentation. And I think it's a really good presentation he gave there. Not as direct as I'm telling now, but if you see it, then you will see, yeah, there's something fishy about what we call healthcare. Very, very fishy. What he says is that you can cure, not only prevent, but you can cure all these diseases by changing your diet into whole food, plant-based products. Yeah, vegetables, fruits. That's what you should eat. And stop eating all the factory food, and especially stop eating all the animal-based foods. Yeah. Maybe I should read the list. Cancers, heart diseases, multiple sclerosis, kidney stones, osteoporosis, diabetes, both type 1 and 2, and so on. All these things, if you have problems, if you have these kind of diseases, or you know somebody who has these kind of diseases, then advise them or yourself to look at the diet. What do you have to lose? Nothing. Just try this. He says if you try this, if you change your diet for 30 days, then you will see results. And maybe it's all completely solved. What do you have to lose? 30 days. People who are drug addicts or alcohol addicts, yeah, they have a 12-step program and so on. See something like this too. Maybe you are addicted to eating meat or milk or cheese or whatever. See it as a very dangerous substance that you have to somehow get rid of because you're addicted to it. And that addiction is causing these illnesses. Do your own research. Please do. And this guy really knows what he's talking about because he did this research. And he found significant results. He can prove that it is true. What more do you want? What more do you want? So the solution for our so-called healthcare problem or healthcare crisis, which is costing us more and more money every year, and of course the pharmaceutical industry is very happy about it, and all the providers are very happy about that too, and all the insurance companies are very happy about it too, because they all make big, big, big money. The only one who's not too happy about this are you and me, are the people who are forced somehow to pay these bills. Well, I don't want to do that. I stopped paying those bills a long time ago. I canceled my health insurance. I don't have a health insurance for many years now. And I'm very happy about it because I take care of my own health. And I'm happy to pay the bills if there are. But there are no bills. For 8 years or something, I've not had anything to buy to prevent me, except for good food, which is whole food and plant-based. That's all. So spend the money you now spend on healthcare, spend it on good food, and you'll be better off for less money. It's a big gain, very big gain. I strongly advise you to take a look at this and do some research. So come back to this, because this was just a sidekick, but it was mentioned in the episode of Simpsons, so it's meaningful. And indeed it's meaningful. They warn us for not eating meat and milk, because that's the title of the episode, milk, muted milk. And it's clear, all those milk products made from milk are very dangerous for your health. But if you still buy meat or you still buy cheese, yeah, that's your problem. They warned you. And then somehow they think their karma is lifted. They're no longer responsible. And I think that's true. They tell you it's dangerous, it's very makes you very sick. But if you still eat it, it's your problem. If you're addicted to that taste, yeah, then you're a junkie. You're a junkie. And then you should also be willing to pay the price for being a junkie. And that means becoming ill and maybe die much sooner than you would otherwise die. It's your choice, it's your life, it's your food. You put it in your mouth. And me too, of course. Okay, let's come back to this. 9 is the number of the moon, yeah, as the Kabbalah tells us, and other systems too, by the way. So 9 is the moon, but there is a new moon and there is a full moon. And those are two extremes of the cycle. And they both have a different meaning, because this is extreme dark and this is extreme light. And we have two types of wizards on this planet, white wizards and dark wizards. And of course the white wizards, they know the importance of sun and sunlight, radiation coming from the sun. If you want to become enlightened, you have to connect to the sun Helios. That's what I explained in the video called Holy Awakening. So the full moon is a reference to the sun, to the light, while the dark moon is a reference to the darkness, and that is a reference to Saturn. So now we see that this is indeed a moon phase, but it's a reference to Saturn, and that's why the number 15 comes in here. Yeah, this is the black star. Saturn is the black star. Of course, this is the moon, but Saturn represents the black star, the black planet. And this is also how the album looked like on the inside. Yeah, black. That's a clear reference because the cover outside is white, but inside is black. And yeah, the number 15 was there. So this is 15, and if we add up the 1 and the 5, we get 6. And that's why there are 6 symbols here. So this is a clear reference to Saturn. This is a reference to Saturn, no doubt about it. And an indirect reference to the moon. So it's a reference to 6 and 9. And that's why all these numbers adding up gives 69, as I explained before. And Saturn is also related, or let's say it differently, the owl is a kind of representation of Saturn. And there are many indirect references to Saturn via the owl. But look at this owl. You see the pentagrams here. So it's 5. Yeah, like the Satanistic pentagram. But here, if you look carefully, you see a skull. Death. This is a clear reference to death because Saturn is related to death. You can also call it Death Star. Does that ring a bell? Death Star and Star Wars? It's about Saturn. It's all about Saturn. And now let's go back to the film Labyrinth, because it starts with an owl and it ends with an owl. The owl represents a Jared. Jared is an owl and then becomes a human, or a human shape, but actually he's an owl. Actually, he is Saturn. It shows us right in the face, it is all about Saturn. And what about here? Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. This is an owl shape. Coincidence? No way. Because these are the people who want to dominate the world. That's why they created this. And Washington, D.C. is a major city in their plan, one of the city-states. Together with London City, or the City of London, and the Vatican City, also explained in one of the previous episodes. And also the symbology on the USA $1 bill has been explained, and the many references to Saturn and the 33-degree George Washington, 33-degree Mason George Washington on the front side, and so on. But what I want to focus now on, because I'm not going to do all that again, of course, is that you find an owl there too. If you look here, the right-hand side upper corner here, there you cannot see it here, but this is an enlargement. You can still not see it here. But then, if you make it big enough, you can see there's an owl. There's an owl here. It's a hidden reference to Saturn. The Saturn worshippers use the money system to control the world. But it's very hidden. But it's there. It's in the open. It's if you have eyes to see, you can see it. But you have to do some research. You have to get into it. You have to go into the labyrinth and find it. If you're too lazy for that, then I'm really sorry for you. Then you're still in the matrix, in the old system. Then you are part of the problem. And what about this shape? The Bohemian Grove in California, USA. To me, it looks very much like an owl. It's called the Moloch, or the Molech. And it's worshipped. This is, of course, the devil. The devil, Saturn, worshipped. In ancient Egypt, or named Kemet, he was represented as Seth, Lord of the darkness, or God of chaos, evil, war, hostility, confusion, darkness again, deserts and storms. Or in short, he was the enemy of humanity. He was not too fond of humanity. And the people who want to control this world, they are not too fond of humanity either. That's why we find on the Georgia Guidestones that they want to bring the number back to 500 million. That's a big big drastic decrease, so to say. So they don't like humans either. They think we are something weird. They think they are better than humans. They think they are different species. Yeah, and I explained that too in episodes 8 and 10 and 11, if I'm correct. But I explained that many times before. And of course, we know that Set killed Osiris, the husband of Isis, the father of Horus. And there is a strange story about homosexuality in Set. Well, we know there's something going on here. It's all going back to ancient Kemet. I think that's where they really took power. They started in Sumer, but in Egypt they were able to seize full control. And then Saturn cult went to Canaan. And Moloch is actually the Canaanite version of Set, but it's the same evil god. And the Canaanites, they were offering their children. Children were put in this kind of statue which had fire, and the children were burned alive. Child sacrifice started here with the people from Canaan. It's a very horrible story, and it's going on to present day. And that's also what Stanley Kubrick was telling us indirectly. It's going on. The elite, the so-called elite, the powers that should not be, they are still practicing child sacrifice. And before their children are killed or burned or whatever, there's also child abuse on big scale. The people who want to rule this world, they are psychotic child abusers. And they think they have a right to do because they have this very evil religion. Their belief system, their satanic belief system, honoring Molech or Set or Saturn or the devil. It's all the same. Here you see him, also depiction of Molech, and the Phoenicians called this god, so to say, this evil god, Baal, and Baal actually means Lord. So it was their Lord. And if you read the Bible carefully, and especially the Old Testament, so also the books of the Tanakh, then most of the times when there is Lord or Yahweh, they refer to Molech or Set or Satan or the devil. And the Philistine people named him Baal Zebub. Baal, you see this is Hebrew letters, Hebrew alphabet. This is Baal, and this Zebub, Baal Zebub. And Baal Zebub means literally Lord of the high places. So he's high up, he's in the sky, in the heaven, together with the other gods. But they worship him as the Lord of the planets, of the solar lights, or the solar beings, or the star beings. And that is somehow completely strangely mistranslated as Lord of the Flies. Yeah, indeed, those gods are flying up in heaven, in the sky, but we should not refer to them as flies. The flyers maybe, but the flies is completely silly. So this is a really stupid mistranslation. And in Greek it became Beelzebub. Well, I have to be more precise because it actually became Beelzebul. If you read this carefully, you see Beelzebul with an L at the end, or bull, Beelzebul. And if you put double L, bull, this indeed looks like a bull. So that's where the bull is coming from. And that's the same bull as the golden calf story with Moses. And when we look at Matthew chapter 10, verse 25, we see here also the name Beelzebul. And he's heading the house of evil. Yeah, we see malign. So these are not really nice people. You don't want to belong to this household. I most certainly do not want to belong to this household. But I can tell you for sure that Mr. David Bowie was part of that household. He was serving in the house which was led by Beelzebul as the head, or the devil, or Moloch, or anything you want to call. It's the same character. It's the devil worshipping. It's satanistic cults. So we can choose which side we are on. We can be on the black side, the dark side, and we know that it is very tempting, and we should never underestimate the power of the dark side. That's what we know from Star Wars, going back to George Lucas. But the dark side is also very rewarding, because the dark side is giving you reward in this life. Wealth, anything your ego wants, the dark side can give you. And that's why it's so very powerful, very appealing to people. That's why so many fall for it. But it's actually all black magic, because this world is just an illusion. We are tricked in an illusionary world, and we think this is all real. But there is nothing real here. There is no real possession. Yeah, we don't own anything. There is no ownership. Yeah, we can be servants of God. We can be good shepherds. That's what we can be. And then we're entitled to live here in paradise, because it's a paradise. But if we are falling for the trick, then we are in the team of the black magicians, the voodoo practitioners. Holy science is telling us, no, we can be on the white team. We can be on the side of light and not the side of darkness. And then we become like Harry Potter, or like Luke Skywalker, or anything, or the new versions of it, like Rey. It's all the same. We can be on the white side or on the dark side. They are telling us in the films, in the feature films, that there is a choice. There is a choice. You can be on the dark side or on the light side, but you need knowledge, and you need also to work, to do something. You cannot solve the labyrinth yourself. If you look carefully at what Sarah is doing in the movie Labyrinth, she's using her logic. At a certain moment, she has to solve a riddle, which door to take. And by using logic, she solved it. It's pure logic reasoning. It's actually an example still used at universities. It's a classic one. And by simply logical reasoning, you can solve it. And that's what holy science is telling us. By logical thinking, by developing your left brain, you are able to solve it and become a white magician. And New Age is telling you the very opposite. New Age is telling you, forget about your left brain. Your left brain is not important. Do just what you feel is good, and then you will get there. I have news for you. You will get nowhere. You're in the labyrinth, and if you don't use your left hemisphere, your analytic brain, you will not get out of this. There are many people on the internet that are telling you all kinds of stories, also on this channel, on CCN. Many have their own ideas, but I can tell you for sure that they are still in the labyrinth, and they have not found the way out. Because if they would have found the way out, their life would be completely different. Holy science is a really big subject. So in order to study this, you have to devote a lot of time and energy to find it. But the end result is really sweet, because you will become a white magician. You will break free from the illusion brought upon us by the black magicians. You can reclaim your soul. You can be united again with your soul. You can be a soulful human being, and you can develop true spirituality, but you need knowledge. And with that knowledge, you can develop intelligence. And with that intelligence, you can develop wisdom. And there's only white wisdom. When you have white wisdom, then you are a white sorcerer. And what they call as black wisdom is not existing. It's a trick. It's not existing, because at the highest level, the level of God, or the level of holy consciousness, as I call it, there is only one. So there cannot be something like black wisdom. It's impossible. But they try to fool you with all kinds of words. And that's what the Freemasonry is doing. People who are searching for answers, want to know the meaning of life and so on, they come to that organization and they think they get the answers, but they are tricked. And all religions do the same. People go to the church and they want to feel the power of the word. And then they start to believe in the literal story of Jesus and so on. And then they are fooled. And the same is true for Islam. and for Judaism and for Buddhism and Hinduism and name all other things. It's the same. You're tricked, and people in the university world are tricked too. That's not real science. And people who want to heal people and become a house doctor or whatever, they are tricked too, because what they learn at university has nothing to do with what they think they learn. They learn the very opposite. And I can go on forever with explaining this. Journalism is also the same story. And people who want to be in the government, trying to do what is good for the country, they end up doing the very opposite. Journalists are ending up spreading lies, and politicians are ending up cheating and lying and deceiving people and helping the powers that should not be to continue with their evil game. They're all guilty. They're all part of this. So there is no easy solution in the big world. There are only small solutions by every one of us breaking free from that illusionary world. There is nobody who's going to save you. Nobody. Unless you do it yourself. You are the one you are waiting for, if you're still waiting for somebody. Yeah, don't think that I can save you. I cannot save anybody. I can save myself, and I think I did that. But I can show you my way out of the labyrinth. But if that's not your way, it's good. You can find your own way. But my way worked. I'm not paying taxes. Nothing. I don't have any. I do not recognize the legal system, and I don't even recognize the country which I'm in. I am truly worshipping the one and only law, and that's the law of God. And everything else is unlawful. And the moment I accept, the moment I see authority in legislation, I violate one of the commandments. I violate second commandment by acknowledging that somebody has power over me. No, you don't have any power over me. That's what it says in the labyrinth, and that's true. And that's the only way to get out of the system. Do not acknowledge anybody having authority over you, because it's all unlawful. Every man is a sovereign being who is here with a certain purpose. And the trickery they try to play on us is very evil. So that was the Bowie Code. And I hope you have enjoyed this episode. There's much more to this, but I do think that he was warning us indirectly for the powers that should not be, though he was part of them. But they know that you have to warn people in order to continue their game. You have to tell them what you're going to do to them. That's how they understand the game. And I think that's true. But after they've told us, and we still continue with going along with their agenda, yeah, then their karma is so-called lifted, and they can continue. There is no repercussion for their evil plans, because they make us do it. The powers that should not be never ever fight in a war. They don't kill people themselves. They don't want to get dirty hands. No, because they know that getting dirty hands means something really drastic. And I'm 100% certain that they don't violate any of the 10 commandments, because they know that there is a big price for that. So they play along with the evil agenda, but they don't want to create any trouble for themselves. So they use trickery, they use magic, they use the magic dance on us. And they trick us in doing things to each other and to ourselves too, in line with that evil agenda. But we don't have to do that. We don't have to pay taxes. We don't have to obey the law, the so-called law, the police officers and whatever. We don't have to obey them. They're just human beings playing a role. But we don't have to acknowledge that role. When we do, then we are in trouble. But if we don't do, we are in heaven. We are in paradise. It's very simple. Stop allowing people to fool you. So if you've liked it, please tell others about this show and especially this episode, and spread the word, because that's the only way to change this world. As long as the majority is still in the illusion, nothing will change. For one individual like me and hopefully you, life can change, and that's good. But how about, yeah, for instance, I have children. How about my children? How can I help them? I cannot free them. I can tell them everything I want, but still they have to do it themselves. And so on. And my dear ones, my parents, and everybody else, and all my friends. It's very painful for me to watch so many people I love who are still fully in the system and are still doing everything according to the evil plan. But they think they're doing good, and they think they don't have a choice. They think they have to do this like this. No, they don't. There is always a choice. All the movies always tell us there is a choice. That's actually the key element. There is a choice. Sarah had a choice to find her brother back. And she did. She succeeded. She succeeded to get her soul back. And we can all do that. But the powers that shouldn't be were not too happy about that. That's why Jared in the film Labyrinth was really unpleased by the progress she made, because he thought she would never ever make it. But she did, and also with the help of friends. So we together are standing strong. Together we can prevail. But we need to free ourselves first. Okay, I think that's about enough. Hope you get it. Next week I will do the same episode, but then in Dutch, my mother tongue. And then the week after that, I will do it with one of my CCN colleagues in French. At least that's the plan. And that will be on February 25. And then on March 3, the week after that, I will do the same episode with a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, in German. And maybe other languages will follow. We'll see. Yeah, maybe Spanish too, or maybe Italian, I don't know, or other languages. It's all possible. But these three are hopefully for sure, and maybe more will come. If you want to learn more about all this or episodes in other languages and see when they are coming, the easiest way is to go to this website, pateo.nl, and there you find 10 different languages. You can click on each of the languages, and then you go to the language section, and there's always an agenda. And if there is, for instance, an episode upcoming in any of these languages, then I will put it as soon as possible on those agendas. So this is, I think important. The other website, holyscience.org, is only English, but this one has information about Holy Science also, of course, but then in multiple languages, and I think that's also important. So this was the episode, the special episode about the Bowie Code. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if so, then, as I said before, spread the word. Tell people about Pateo Television, tell people about my websites, visit those websites, connect with me on my YouTube channel, for instance. There's also a Facebook. I'm not involved in that, but you can also connect there and get updates and so on. That's important. And if you like CCN, the platform that is offering programs like this, then also support CCN in any way you can, because as I said before, together we stand, divided we might fall. And that's also what we saw in the movie of Labyrinth, because Sarah could only make it thanks to her friends, all her new friends she made along the way. And we make new friends also all along the way. And hopefully we can be friends too. So this is the episode of this week in English. Hope you tune in another time. I'm not sure when the next English episode will be, but that will also be on pateo.nl. Thank you for now. Thank you for watching, and please spread the word. Namaste.